We got 3 packages this week. Although this first one isn't actually anime, so let's open it up and very quickly take a peek at it. It's the Boondock Saints. Don't know much about this movie. Guess I'll find out. But now we got the 2 packages, and we've got part of one of them. So instead of doing this the official way, we will go about this that way. Let's see. In this pile we have receipts, of course. And this would be a package from Right Stuff. All I have to do is find a handle, and we can force open without having to resort to any kind of utilities. The box is a bit stuffed, I guess, for the one at least, but the extra padding is kind of a relief. And last but not least, we have 2 other things, and this brings us to the grand total of everything. Why don't we begin with this oddity? As you can see here, it's from Aniplex. It's basically a blank case, but it has a Sword Art Online. I think I mentioned the DVDs for the Sword Art Online. The images appear to be reversed. It looks like they fixed this. The only difference I could visually tell, other than maybe a numbering difference down there, was the artwork for that one was red instead. But this is the container it came in, and this wasn't inside the sleeve, but I intended to put it in there. So basically these are the 2 mistaken discs. I've already looked at the other ones. I've ripped them, compared their size to the other one. I didn't compare checksums because I don't have a process for that, but they're the exact same size as the discs, just with the labels on the correct side. So it appears that was about it. Here we have something I was probably supposed to get 2 weeks ago, and last week I mentioned that I had ordered and was intending to get, and that would be Ghost in the Shell Arise. Now I think about it, I haven't opened it up yet, maybe? I don't know why this says sample. I ordered this, I think, from TRSI, officially from Funimation. But whatever it is, this is it. We got the 1 disc, which I do believe has a single 45-minute episode. We have some sort of filmy looking thing there. Having not watched it, I can't really comment on anything about where it might be. And then we've got a little booklet. Strange humanoid-looking robots. Oh well, haven't watched it yet. Not for any particular reason. It's in very Japanese words, so it's hard to read exactly. I'm looking for it to say English, but I don't see it. All I know is that this was known to be one of those things that got released with English subtitles, I guess, and it was more or less officially imported by Japan, or by Funimation, which is a very unusual way for them to go about doing this. Up here we've got AKB0048, or I guess the year is 0048. So yeah, that would probably be an 0048. Don't know much about this. I just know that only the Blu-ray version shipped, because Amazon is saying, we don't know when the DVD version is going to ship. I guess that's okay. And given that there's DVD versus Blu-ray versions, you may suspect this is Sentai Filmworks title. Region A, all 13 episodes on 2 discs. From the creators of Macross and Escaflowne. Looking at it, it looks like it's something out of Macross. So next up, we got the DVD and the Blu-ray re-releases of Elfen Lied. I got both. Obviously, I would get the Blu-ray version just to have the series on Blu-ray as well. But it has the OVA on it. Something which has been around forever, and I even downloaded a copy that I didn't know how to play at the time. And I've intended to since go back and re-watch, or rather try and watch so that I could watch it for the first time. But I never did. And so because of that, well, that's unexpected. So this clearly says Sentai, right? That's clearly ADV's symbol there. Does this mean that ADV's releasing stuff under their official label now? Alright, now that we've got all the packaging off, let's see. First of all, the Blu-ray says it is Region A, for those of you who are curious about it. On the inside, we've got 2 of the discs. For the DVD version, we should probably have 3 discs. Of course, this one being the one with the different image that's not in the other. Very intriguing. Like I said, the reason I even repurchased the DVD version is because that OVA has not previously, as far as I've been able to tell, been released here on DVD. Next up, One Piece Season 5 Voyage 2. Glad this is actually coming out fairly rapidly. The wait can sometimes be the hardest part. I guess that's a problem with watching the episodes pretty much in a single sitting, because if you think about it, this one will have 276 to 87. That will be 11 episodes on one, maybe 12 episodes in one thing. So if you think about it, if these were airing once a week, that would actually be 12 weeks, which would be 3 months worth of episodes. I think, as usual, the discs aren't particularly noteworthy, although of note, they are labeled 1 and 2 this time. And as usual, the insides aren't particularly. This is Voyage 2. There we go. I keep not thinking of looking there for the number. 1 and 2. This would be from up on Poppy Hill. And unfortunately, at this point, this means that I haven't watched the Japanese import that I imported. Oops. Oh well. It would be interesting to still do a comparison, I guess. I'm not sure how much of a comparison it would be. And I don't know that I necessarily have the time to do a comparison. Let's see, we have our 2 discs. We've got the DVD disc. And we've got the Blu-ray disc. Here we've got a bunch of stuff. Let's see. So, none of these are anime, but I do have The Secret of Kells. And on the booklet here, there seems to be some information about random stuff. Not quite as character information sort of as a lot of stuff, but as this is a movie, not a series, I imagine a lot of that stuff is probably information more along the lines of the story, the inspirations, maybe sort of things. I'm not entirely sure. I'm just wildly speculating. And we'll make those even for the NIS release, Yuru Yuri. Happy Go Lily. And I'm vaguely familiar with the fact that this series exists. Not entirely sure what it's about. The impression I've got, it's a bunch of girls who are enamored by the concept of lolicon or girl and girl Yuri sort of stuff. Not that they're necessarily lesbians per se, but that they're kind of infatuated with the concept. Which sounds like an interesting mixture for fun time, I guess. But I don't know if that's actually the case. So these things are always so random. I think I will turn this upside down. Since a lot of these just randomly appear during the week, you don't get to see me play around with them too much. I do align them to be kind of more online. This one on the left here, I guess. It's not terribly important, but so this is a Blu-ray only release. And as usual, it comes with an art book. Well, a random stuff book. This one calls it an art book. It seems a bit more arty at this point. Looks like some design concepts and then some art. So basically, a couple different kinds of art for the art book. Well, makes sense. And there we go. That's all of this week's additions to the anime collection. The replacement discs for Sword Art Online Volume 1 over here. And I guess that means that the only thing left to talk about now would be the two anime I've watched. Why only two? Well, let's just say that I introduced a couple friends to Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate, and one of them in particular I was able to spend a good amount of time with, which inspired me to spend a lot of time myself. And so even though I've put over 550 hours into it, I only just now reached, well, I guess it's closer to 530 hours. I only just now reached G rank. Mostly because I didn't feel any rush to go particularly fast. Just aimed for things that I felt like getting, etc., etc. And I didn't do a lot of the multiplayer. Some of it, I had a friend who got me through most of the key quests to get me through the multiplayer stuff. But by then I had pretty much completed most of the single player stuff. I just have those two urgent quests remaining, and they annoy me enough that I want to get the G rank gear. Swords and armors and whatever. Need to explore some stuff there. But then I started experimenting on filling out the multiplayer stuff because I was running out of single player stuff to do. And it turned out that all the non-key quests, even the ones that kind of worried me, didn't have too much trouble clearing them, pushing it off. So basically I was hanging on the edge of being G rank because I just had the gold Cetus left, which was where my friend had stopped, and so I decided to just go ahead and try and solo it, and felled it in one shot. It wasn't a particularly spectacular battle. Very, very, very clumsy. I mean, I missed the Dragonator the first time. Well, long story short, I finished it within the last couple of minutes, but that unlocked the G rank stuff and an explosion of playing more Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate stuff because I've got a lot of stuff to explore and to build and to grind. Don't have to grind, I just kind of want to. But that aside, the two anime I watched. First of all, if I didn't mention I was watching Nisei Monogatari last week, that's what I finished. And what can I say about it? It was fun. I mean, watching it there alone and not having a lot of else to think about, you just kind of really enjoy just kind of the absurdity of this show itself. And it's a kind of absurdity that's very wordy. I'm not saying it's like reading a novel before going to bed, or it's nothing that wordy, but it is more than you might expect from a subtitled anime, and it jumps around a whole lot, and it's actually pretty fun in its way that it jumps around and plays stuff. In particular, Nisimonogatari has that rather infamous scene of the toothbrush innuendo, and I was glad to finally watch that in context, and it was actually pretty fun and even more interesting in context, I thought. Especially since you just kind of juggle around in your head how you think it might have come about, not entirely understanding, and it's like, oh wow, fun. So that was it. Nisei Monogatari was fun. Let's see, the other thing I watched was Guilty Crown, and just the 22 episode series, and not any of the extra stuff. Mostly because I tried firing up that 1 hour reprise movie, and the one that's a recap of the first half of the series, and it was pretty much subtitled, and I'm like, I can't do that. I'm monster huntering. But what can I say about Guilty Crown? I guess disappointed is the number one thing I felt. For the most part, I felt like there was a lot about it that could have been done. It kind of felt a little awkward at the beginning, because it kind of felt like it was just the same story as Code Geass, but replacing our smart hero with a socially awkward male character, I guess. Which wasn't necessarily bad. There was something about it was just like, why do I feel like I'm rewatching somebody remaking the beginning of Code Geass all over again? And I gave that one a pass simply because, if I hadn't watched Code Geass, I might not have noticed that sort of thing. So I tried to instead just appreciate it for what it was setting up, and I thought it looked like it would be interesting and actiony, and I have to admit that the action in this one I thought was pretty decent. It didn't leave me with this... There's a kind of action that a lot of shows, I guess, like to put together, where I can't really appreciate the action simply because there's no real threat of danger. People kind of comment about with Superman how this is a problem, and I would guess that for a lot of Superman's not so smart villainy setups, that would probably be the case. It's just a matter of Superman outlasting the opponent or something like that, and instead you kind of need to make it feel like there's something more at stake, and Superman you really have to do that, whereas with a lot of other superheroes you don't. And in the case of a lot of anime action, there's this tendency to go so over the top with the action that you don't really feel like the characters are in danger. Like, losing isn't really that big of a deal. I think I've also mentioned Dead Fantasy as an example of this, where you kind of have Dead Alive characters versus Final Fantasy characters, and they're doing all these neat flips and cool tricks with guns and whatnot, but, they shoot each other, they hit each other with swords, they knock each other through walls, and nobody really takes any damage, at least in the first 2 or 3 videos or something like that, and it's kind of artificial action when you end up in that sort of situation. So I always worry about those sorts of things, and I thought Guilty Crown did a pretty good job of not falling into that pit. It's a really easy pit to fall into. Unfortunately, the thing that made me disappointed in Guilty Crown is, I could kind of respect the fact that the twists and the setups and the powers and the action were all neat, but I really hated that it felt like male-shaming the main character through the first half of the series, and then just everybody being stupid in the second half, or something along those lines. It's a very vague feeling I have, but it's like our main character has this special power now, and that's okay, and he's an awkward guy, so they're going to play around with it in an interesting way, but instead of trying to be really smart with it, it seemed more like they were just, oh, why aren't you being the hero yet? You should be going out there on the front lines. Your life doesn't mean as much as all the other people or something. Because you have a special power, you should use it. It's not even great. With great power comes great responsibility. It's like, with great power, you better put your ass out there and make the chance that you're going to die a reality, because I'm entitled to living, or something like that. You know, it's basically expecting the guy to put his life onto the line, not hoping it will, or being disappointed he doesn't, or anything like that. I mean, the shaming was just annoying. I kind of think that there was something like that at the beginning of Boondock 7, maybe. Just giving the main character shit because he's shit and he's not the hero or something like that. That and everybody following this organization who's all, oh yeah, just do the training and you will understand why we all follow this organization. There, you're done with the training, you understand why. It seems more like a cult than a bunch of people who are together, and I'm not sure if it was really supposed to. Maybe the intentions of the people who made it kind of flew over my head, but I kind of like to at least begin by taking what I'm watching at face value, unless I can obviously figure out that there's something else underneath the covers that I'm intentionally missing or unintentionally missing or whatever. And I didn't really feel anything with this one. And this was before the monster hunting really started up, so I kind of really felt that annoyance initially. After that, second half, like I said, they kind of set things up where characters have to make choices that may not be the best choices and may not be the nicest choices, but it's kind of understandable. But then everyone's like, oh no, now you're not making the right choice that we would have wanted to make, even though that would have been an impossible choice. And basically, the entire anime, my sympathy for the main character was one of he's being constantly shamed, or he's just being held to unreasonably high standards, and I don't know that the anime necessarily knows it's doing that, because I don't find that kind of thing entertaining. But that just might be a personal taste issue when you get down to it. Anyways, I'm not quite sure what anime I'm going to be watching next, other than the fact that since I knew this had already shipped and was going to arrive today, I've put off watching any subtitle anime before going to bed, because I thought this one sounded like it'd be kind of entertaining. Maybe sort of like an episodic fun series, maybe sort of like The Daily Lives of High School Boys. Maybe not rated that high, I don't know. And after that one, I think I'm going to watch Rose of Versailles. Damn it. And out here, I'm not sure, because while I'm doing the Monster Hunter stuff, obviously I'm going to be watching something dubbed. And something dubbed has taken my attention, and that's Walking Dead Season 3. So, a little break from anime there, unfortunately. But The Walking Dead has to be watched, because I have to see what happens, and I want to see the cool sword lady some more. I only got to see a little bit, just the first 2 episodes of the series. And I guess she was maybe there at the end of the 2nd season. I don't know. Oh well, I don't go back and pick up the details like that. I don't think it's terribly, terribly important. Just the vague memories. So, there we go. That's everything nice and complicated. Can't think of anything particularly noteworthy to mention anime purchase-wise. Yeah, just, yeah, nothing comes to mind. I think this is September, and it was a particularly crazy month. It's like there's 5 release days or something. I guess I don't remember. Maybe it was only 4. And each one was pretty up there in terms of the cost of new release and stuff. And I think I might have mentioned this last week, but that didn't even include things like Sword Art Online Volume 2. And I think Blue Exorcist Volume 2, which are both coming out this month, I think. Oh well, I'm prepared. So hopefully y'all are too. And y'all, have a nice week.